Hey, it's Jeff from RenoVision. Today we are doing a really cool project. We're ripping apart this old bay window and we're gonna resize the hole and install a brand new construction window. Now, we've done videos with window installation before, but this is different. This technology allows anybody, even you, to install your own windows and save a ton of money. Today I'm joined with my son Matt and my son Nate. Now, whew, it's a hot one out here, again.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to work. So our first step today is obviously demolition. We got to tear all this apart, but we're going to save you the trouble of watching this long, arduous task. We're just going to do a quick time lapse so you get the flavor of it, and then we're going to jump right in with rebuilding and putting this new window in. So now that we've got the window reframed and installed Tyvek, we're going to show you how to install a window. We've done a window installation before, but this is a completely different install. This time we're using new build construction windows. We're going to go through the technology in a minute, but first I'm going to show you how to prep for installing this kind of window because it's a lot different. We're not using blue skin, we're not taping the Tyvek to the blue skin. It's a much simpler process that I think a lot of homeowners are going to appreciate because this is the program. If you're going to change your windows and your siding together, now you're dealing with new construction technology. It's a lot quicker, it's a better seal, and it's a lot easier to install. All right, so generally what you want to do from the inside is trim all of this Tyvek back flush to the frame. And that seems counterintuitive, but trust me, I'll explain it as I go along. And a little snip here. The idea here is we're going to be installing a window that has two elements to the molding on the outside. One, it already has a brick molding because I like the definition of a brick molding. It makes the window a little more beefy and it doesn't require me to add extra flashing. And on top of that, it also has a nailing flange. So we're going to bring the camera inside. We'll go over the details of how the window's constructed. But the nailing flange allows us to install the window, have the brick mold, and then the nailing flange below it so that we can actually install it all and then cut this Tyvek, tape it to the nailing flange, and now the window becomes part of the water diversion system. It's completely sealed all the way around. That is an awesome, quick, simple way to install the window. So we're gonna just create a couple of big, quick slits here. Allow us to peel all this back out of our way. And then we're ready to install our window. First, we'll have to put some scaffolding up because this sucker is 8 feet wide and it is really heavy. So we're going to build a scaffolding platform so we can work with relative ease to install it. So we're going to open up the window here real quick, have a look at the technology. All right. So what you can see here is I have the window. This is what's called brick mold. It's part of the extrusion, and then I have a nailing flange. So the window itself is here, but look at, I'm dealing with about 2 inches of overhang, which is this nailing flange, all right? So what happens is as long as you frame the hole for your window, or you order the window, this is the measurement you're gonna use. You wanna get the width to this point and the height to this point, and then allow all this extra material and build out to go over top of your wall. So if your hole is, let's call 8 feet by 4 feet, you order the window 1/2 inch shorter on each dimension. So you got a little wiggle room, you can add some foam, all right? And allow all of this build out to go over top of the wall on the outside. Now we're gonna carry this outside, get it up on the scaffolding, and we're gonna show you how to install it and seal it up and do all that yourself. So then you can have a perfect window install with new window build out material. It's totally different than if you're installing inside of brick or existing siding, because then you've got to get your brick mold dimension absolutely perfect to slide it into what's existing. But if you're starting over again like this and doing the whole house, piece of cake and a lot cheaper. Keep it coming. Okay. Now we're just throwing in a couple of shims so we can create an airspace so we can seal it with the expansion foam. Nice. So all we did was we lifted into place, Used a couple of shims to lift it off the support, so now we have a gap that we can use the expansion foam that'll help kill the sound and the air transfer and give it a good thermal seal. That's it from the inside. Now we're gonna finish up outside. So now sometimes DIY means calling over a friend or two, or grabbing your kids. Huh. But the reality is, once you got it in place and you've got it leveled, with just a few shims, we're going to just screw the 4 corners of the flange. That'll leave these guys so they can take off because they're done for the day. It's been a long, hot day. And then I'm going to show you how to seal this thing all up. Okay, that's the bottom only, so let me get 2 in the top, guys. Done. Thanks, boys. Thanks for a great day.
Hey.
You guys rock. All right. Now, I used the flooring screws, just a few of them to hold this in place. But the nailing flange is exactly that. It's a flange designed for nailing. What you should be using here, and if you have a new house that has a flat wall, you're in luck. This old farmhouse has got a bit of a bow going on, but you can actually put in nails in a nailing flange. You want to be careful, and you want to be hitting with the heel end of the hammer, and aim for the far side of the nail and hammer like that. So you got control over it, okay? And you want to throw in one nail, I would suggest every second hole. All right? If you're not comfortable with that, then get a screw that has a larger head, okay? But the idea, having it flat's important because when you add your J-trim for the siding around it, you don't want to have a great big fat screw head sitting there. It'll disrupt everything. Now, at this point, a lot of you are like, whoa, what happened? Didn't you do a video, use blue skin and everything else? I'm like, yes. But the truth of it is this. The blue skin is really important if you don't have a nailing flange, and if you're not going to tie your house wrap to the side of the window, because this is actually waterproof, right? It's not vapor proof, but it's waterproof. And so if we attach this properly, we can create a waterproof seal around this window. We don't have to worry about water getting in behind it. So we don't have to protect the wood framing. And that saves a lot of time and money. So what I do is I take this extra piece here now, and I'm going to just score it. All right? It's almost like a pencil. You see that line? And what I do is I score it, and then I'm going to trim it back an additional 1/2 inch, because now I've got that line I can follow. Okay? And now I'm going to tape the Tyvek to the flange. Here we go. Get my mark, extend my blade, plus 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. And it's just designed, what I'm talking about is trimming off enough that I can make positive contact with the tape on both the Tyvek and the window. I'll show that to you now. Remember, when you cut, always fold your tape over so that you can find it easy. Just to save your bacon, especially if you're on a ladder. Nobody's got time for finding the end of a roll in that situation. So all I gotta do here is just take a few minutes, do all 4 sides, tape up all the joints. I don't know, if you haven't seen the video, or your window isn't gonna be new construction, you're installing an existing siding, existing brick, then we can click the link up here. We've got the other video, we'll show you how to install that style of window. It's totally different. But all that blue skin technology is very important if you're in a situation where you don't think you're going to be able to have this kind of a house wrap continuous seal to divert the water around. This type of window, the new construction window, honestly, it is the best option, okay? It gives you a perfect waterproof seal, it gives you the best protection, and it's so easy to install having that nailing flange there. I don't have to drill holes on the inside of my interior to set this window in place. I don't have those little plastic caps. No fooling around. Absolutely brilliant. And just a thought, if you're going to be doing a major project like doing all your siding and windows, consider renting scaffolding and using this kind of a situation. This will save you a ton of time. It's only a couple $100 a month. We got a link to the video over here to show you how to assemble this situation, because you can do this right or you can do this wrong. Don't recommend doing it wrong. This would be one scary thing to be stepping off of. Now, there's 3 steps left to do in the window. One of them is to add your J-trim for your siding. But you see, there's something going on in this corner here. It doesn't allow me to keep the J-trim nice and tight. See the gap? It's nice and tight otherwise. What it is at the factory, when they're putting these together, they're actually melting it together with the heat. So they get a ridge, okay? So what I do is I like to take my knife and I cut that plastic ridge off. Okay? There we go. Because this is a painted window, it's not molded with the color. So you might get a little bit of an exposed corner here. It doesn't matter, that corner is it's still weatherproof. Okay? And if you want to, there we go. Let me show you this now. Nice and tight. Solves that problem. So you don't got a big ugly gap. If you want to, after you're all done, you can add caulking if you really want to. You can take 2 seconds and shoot it with some brown spray paint if you really want to. You can spend an extra $1,000 and buy your window from a company that makes this out of a molded colored plastic. But I'm saying, for what it's worth right there, not worth it. Better to have that nice and tight. Okay, there we go. Life is good. Of course, installing J-trim is really easy, right? It comes with a nail strip, just like the window, right? And this flange is actually sticking out a little further than the flange on the window. So you aren't gonna be nailing in the nails. You don't have to worry about it. So the last thing we have to do outside is put on what I call my metal drip edge, my flashing. And that's just for those really crazy wind-driven days. We're gonna take a total measurement of the outside plus the material here. So 92 5/8. And I'm gonna add 2 inches because that's how wide the J-trim is. And I want this metal flashing wider than both pieces of that, okay? All right. The idea is to have this sticking out.
Sorry, is to have this sticking out?
1 inch further on each side.
Sorry, just say the idea is to have this sticking out.
The idea is to have it sticking out 1 inch past the corner. That's right there. And we're just gonna hammer a few of these in. All right, that's how we're gonna install that. And this gives you ultimate protection in the most severe weather. Ow. And I know this might seem overkill, but whenever you're waterproofing things, it's a great time for overkill. Here we go. Boom. Tape that membrane to the metal so that no water get in behind it. Now this blue tuck tape is actually an advancement in the technology. It used to be red. It was the gold standard for years until somebody invented something that's even better in wet areas. So now we're all using the blue. It costs the same and it is twice the performance long term in an area like this. So now the only thing that's left is to install all your J-trim, cut it and fit it. That is a beautiful finished look. And you have twice the protection because now you're gonna have the siding to protect the house. You're gonna have the tape onto the flashing protecting the house. And underneath that, you've got the house wrap taped to the nailing flange itself, which is unibody construction because it's joined with heat. So it melts all the joints. There's no way for water to get through that. I don't care if you were blasting that sucker with a fire hose for like 4 days. Not a drop is coming into that building. And you can see one of the most significant differences between new construction windows and replacement windows is that if this was a replacement window, I wouldn't have a flange outside. So I'd have to attach the window from in here, which means I'd be screwing through the jam material of some sort. That's just gonna look like junk. It makes a mess. New windows, you don't have that problem. All you gotta do is come inside and foam it in. And if you don't have one of these foam guns, you gotta get one. You can go to check out our tools in the description below. Go to Amazon and buy one. You'll thank me for it. These things are awesome. Here we go, nice and controlled. The only thing left to do is tell you that the way we finish this window is a combination of a window jamb extension and a casing. We got a video on that. We'll throw the card up there for that one. Has some great information. It also was done in a more traditional style, so it's got some real good carpentry tricks in that one. And if after watching something like this you think, wow, that's not so tricky, I could install windows. Now maybe an 8x4 foot is a little bit bigger than the average person wants to bite off for the first time around, but if you do your average window, you can do it by yourself on a step ladder. It's not that tricky. And you can save thousands of dollars, make your house worth a lot more money. It's a brilliant idea. And if you think that that is true and that you can do it yourself, then hit the like button down. Send us a signal that this is the kind of information that's making a difference in your world. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And if you want to learn all my tips and tricks for how to install vinyl siding, you should click the link from the video right here. We have a great video that goes through great detail how to get it started, how to do the corners, inside, upside, how to finish it all off, make yourself look like a pro, and make a ton of money. Remember, windows and siding will make you thousands of dollars if you do your house over. End of discussion. Get to it.